Bye, have a great time.
ADR. Right now, as it stands, there are a little more than double the rate of births per day versus deaths per day. And in 2011, there were more than 300,000 births a day against 150,000 deaths a day. So what does this mean? This means an increase in the global population. In a world with over 7 billion people on it, these are insane statistics and influenced by a few factors. For one, on average, we are living longer than people did in the past couple hundred years. With advancements in medicine, people are no longer dying in mass due to dysentery, measles, polio, etc. Medicine has also improved our general quality of life, and with technology and robots doing more physically intensive work, such as the work bulldozers and cranes do, there have been less work deaths. Although kids are great, the earth will not sustain this type of growth another 100 to 150 years. People are worried about feeding the poor and homeless around the world now. Imagine when the population reaches 9 to 10 billion. Imagine how much that will exponentially increase. There are also more and more kids being born out of wedlock. China tried tackling the problem by instituting the one-child policy that a couple could only have one child. This was done in an effort to control the population. Outside of forced government sterilization, which would be a human rights abuse, what other options are there? One, better educational programs and easier access to contraceptives. Condoms are cheap but still unappealing because in most pharmacies it's like $3 or $4 for three. And some may feel like for only three that's too much, so they don't bother. Also, in the heat of the moment kind of thing, when the mood is striking, fumbling around for one is a mood killer. But we have to put into our heads that a minute or two intermission is better than not using, and in 9 months later, getting a bundle of joy you may not have been planning. Kids are a blessing, but when you are not planning for one, it can upend your current plan for your life because it becomes all about them now. But I digress. In the past 2 centuries, the population has exploded. I don't think anyone knows what the right answer is. Even if birth control was completely free, I'm sure the birth rate somewhat would go down, but the birth rate will still exceed the death rate. It seems mankind is hurtling towards a tipping point, and as the old adage goes, what goes up must also come down. Imagine if the population right now were at 20 billion. We would be struggling incredibly harder than we are now to meet the global demand for food and energy. Greater emphasis and resources will have to be invested into renewable sources of energy such as solar and wind power. What do you think could or should be done legally to tackle this problem more than has been tried already? Is it a problem of funding? Is it a problem of lack of public interest? These kind of things affect you, especially with budget cuts being made to education and healthcare and stuff. This leads to more school overcrowding, so the quality of the education the kids are receiving is less. There's less teachers, so they're more stressed out and more easily liable to just pass someone on, even though they may have skipped half of the semester, just so that they don't have to deal with another person on top of the other 60 that are in the class. Bar forced sterilization, what answer is there to tackling this problem of this explosion in the population? Abortions aren't the answer either. There has to be some kind of common ground, a happy medium. ADR.